bombshell allegations against the SPLC, sending Democrats scrambling into defensive mode. A shocking 11-count fraud indictment accusing the organization of funneling money to the hate groups they vowed to fight against. Despite the 14-page, extremely detailed charges, Chuck Schumer wants you to think that Trump's DOJ just made the whole thing up.
Let's be clear what this case is all about, is really about. It has nothing to do with alleged wire fraud or with the Southern Poverty Law Center somehow working in coordination with the KKK. That's ridiculous on its face. It doesn't pass the laugh test. It's about Donald Trump turning the Department of Justice into the Department of Vengeance, his own attack dog. If you defend voting rights, if you fight white supremacy, you're next. Donald Trump will use the federal government to go after any group that dares to speak out against him.
And the liberal media is racing to defend the organization, insisting that Trump is the racist, not the group that funded the neo-Nazis, the KKK.
They've gone after the Southern Poverty Law Center, but not the KKK. They've gone after the people the civil rights organizations, but not the actual extremist groups.
They just freed the Proud Boys. What do you expect them to do?
You're right, Michael. Well, excuse me, I forgot who we're dealing with.
Thank you.
They're on the side of the extremists, it feels like.
No, they're on the side of racists and people who are undermining the very principles of the country. And they have been from the very beginning, because that's where Donald Trump has always nurtured himself. Bottom line.
The scandal is also putting a spotlight on some of the conservative groups that the organization tried to destroy, like Turning Point USA, Moms of Liberty, and Do No Harm, along with countless others, all of which were labeled as hate groups by the SPLC. Jesse, I did not think I would be sitting here on a Thursday with the left defending funneling money to hate groups.
Michael Steele's black, am I right? I think I'm right about that. He's a black man, African-American man. Okay, so Michael Steele, black man, doesn't care that the group sent $1 million to the neo-Nazis? They paid the Grand Wizard. He doesn't care. They also don't care that the group committed bank fraud, wire fraud, and defrauded all their donors. Don't care. As long as they smeared Republicans. Doesn't matter. The ends justify the means. I'm beginning to think the entire Democratic Party is a whole scam. What is it really about? Stealing money, flooding the country with illegals, and calling us racists. That's it. Every time you look under the hood, all you find are scams. COVID. Wait a second. Fauci funded the lab where the virus came from? Whoa. Somali daycare, $19 billion. Wait a second, there's no children in the daycare center. What happened to USAID? None of the money left D.C. It all went to Democrats there. Everything, Russia, Hunter, whatever happened to the Green New Deal? It was about $1 trillion, right? Where are the windmills? Where are the solar panels? Where'd they go? I haven't seen anything. They haven't even built the little charging stations for the EVs. Where did it go? How about Omar? Omar, the other day, was worth $100,000. Next month, she was worth $30 million. Then, she went back down to $100,000. How does that happen? They put Donald Trump on trial because of a bookkeeping thing. And she just gets away with inflating and deflating her net worth. Maybe she's hiding the money. Maybe there was never any money. Here's the point. You can't pay racists and then raise money off racism. And it all started 10 years ago in 2014 when they started incubating the nation with racism. You saw it all over television, all over the newspapers. Race, race. Remember the syrup? Remember the songs? We used to do stories on the 5 all day long. And it crushed the heart and soul of the country. Everyone was afraid. People were getting canceled. You couldn't say what you wanted to say. And then, what did it turn out to be? A big, fat psyop. And it turns out we all love each other. And they don't want us to love each other. But we do anyway. We love you.
Yes, we do. I have the SPLC's response here, but I need not provide it because I will bring in Jessica Tarlow to defend sending money to these groups.
I want to address the we all love each other. I hope that is true, and I think fundamentally it is. But to say this all just started in 2014, the racism, let's revisit what Barack Obama's candidacy and presidency looked like. Let's revisit birtherism. Let's revisit terrorist
8 years he was president? How did that happen in a racist country?
No, I'm talking about the reaction to Barack Obama being president from
People
the
don't
guy
have
who
to,
is now
people don't have
president.
to like him and still not be racist.
I didn't say they were all racist, but to say that it
What's
came
your
around
point?
that 2014 is not the right timeline for this. It's just where the indictment starts.
No, it is. If you look at the charts where it shows how much racism and white supremacy is mentioned in articles and television shows, it explodes in 2014.
Right, and it's all a psyop, and that's where the problem is here. Listen, there has been long history of accusations of financial impropriety at the SPLC. This writer, Bob Moser, who worked there, he said he suspected he was working at a, quote, highly profitable scam. So
Really?
that's
Wow.
yes, because I researched for the segment. So that exists for sure. But the jump to what Jesse just said, that racism and white supremacy in this country is just a psyop, is ludicrous.
Not
And
what I
you're
said.
looking, you just did, you literally said
I
psyop.
said
Roll the tape.
you
But
beat
it-
us over the head with
With
charges of racism
and it
for
was
the last
just a
decade,
psyop.
and it's because they
You
have
said
$1
psyop,
billion
Jesse.
endowment,
Stop it.
and they're in bed with the
First of
media
all,
and the Biden administration.
It was 1% of the SPLC's budget that was doing this, and let's see it play out in court if it gets there. I want to see exactly what was going on, if these donors do feel like they were defrauded from this. But the indictment itself is being spun by people that want to argue what you're arguing, Jesse, which is that we just all love each other and we don't have a white supremacy problem, that it's manufactured, that these hate crimes were staged, right-wing protests were fake. Just because one informant within the organization that put together the Unite the Right rally was being paid by the SPLC does not mean that it was fake. Hundreds of white supremacists showed up.
Doesn't mean it was fake.
That white supremacist kid who showed up at Walmart to kill 23 brown people in Buffalo, 10 black
True
people.
somewhere,
at
that's
Tree
the
of Life
argument.
Synagogue.
It's true
No, but that is
somewhere.
where-
Whenever there's
miracle.
a
Show me
hate
where that is.
crime hoax, Jessica, and it's
What
exposed,
hate crime hoax?
the liberal goes, Justice Smollett, anyone?
No, I didn't
how
say
about the
anything
banana
about Justice
peel on the
Smollett.
bench?
Yeah,
How about the
Walmart
noose
shooter
at the
is a
racetrack?
banana peel. What hoax have you actually seen here? You don't think that hundreds of people showed up at the Unite the Right rally that weren't this informant, that weren't persuaded by his vehicle that got them there?
Who was the informant?
I don't. What?
You don't know. Was it the leader? An
Internet
informant is not a leader.
Do you think
It's
there?
also.
You think there
that's
are
the
white
fo-
supremacists
that's.
there? That it's not real?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Are you
All I know is I never heard of it until the day that it happened. You act like you can take the word for a bunch of corrupt people.
Proud Boys.
So you're saying this wasn't created. You're saying this just was an organic event, just like every left-wing event. It just happened. All these right-wingers showed up.
No,
Nobody else
it can be
knew about it.
organized, but
And you know what?
the
Nobody.
people are real.
Nobody.
The white supremacists
Okay.
are
You know
real.
what?
Who got the call to action.
Let me do the simplest
the
analogy.
call to action.
This is like when somebody says, on average, men are taller and way more than women, and then one woman goes, but what about her? And they point to a WNBA player. Yes, Jessica, I'll give you. There probably is a bigot somewhere, but you guys created a false flag that there was this immense movement going on in this country that then put targets on people like Charlie Kirk's back, and he's dead. And a lot of other people were either threatened, physically attacked because of a false flag, which painted an entire, basically, millions of people as white supremacists. You guys ran with it. Imagine if Trump had not won and Kamala Harris had won. Imagine where the SPLC would be now. Imagine how torn apart this country would be. And by the way, I hope that this thing mends, but I don't know, because there are people like you, Jessica, who have such a sunk cost in this belief that this is a belief you were tricked into believing, to think that there's all these racists hiding behind every Cracker Barrel. No, you know what the racists were? They were the anti-racist black activists who saw this as a way to go after whites. This racism that you created was designed to allow for a different kind of racism. And I go back to the contrast. We don't have to defend our racists because we don't know who they are, because you create them. Meanwhile, we don't have to make up your racist because you're standing there with Hassan Piker. These guys are right there in our face.
The comparison, I gotta get. You say the victims that they don't exist or whatever.
Yep.
The 23 people who died in the Walmart in El Paso, going to Buffalo, going to the Tree of Life Synagogue, those were all
That is
killed.
not part that is not part of the psyop or the false flag. Of
But
course,
you're-
you're
you
violating
don't have
the exception to the rule fallacy.
I'm not.
Yes, you
Jesse
are.
said everything is fine. We all love each other.
You know
I
when
think
he was
That's-
Jewish.
I say
I
we
gotta
love
get
each
Emily.
other more than you guys make it out
Yeah.
today.
I've got to get
You want
Emily.
the country to be torn asunder, not you, your party, because that keeps you in power. If there's no more homelessness, there's no more homelessness
we're
money.
not in power.
If there's no more racism, there's no more racism money. If there's no more illegals, there's no more illegal money. Sound familiar? I think so.
Emily,